Hello everyone, my name is Tim, and I have been asked to do a deck profile on my Messiah deck. So I'm going to show you all how and what I play. So to start off with, we're going to be doing the main deck and going over a little bit. So to start off with, I run the starter that I'm pretty sure most people would play anyway, Neon Messiah. Basically, it's just when you ride upon it, you draw a card, and then if you're going second, you get a quick shield, which is always nice. And then, for my grade 1s, we're just going to go up and above here. We have Lady Bower of the White Dwarf. So we got 4 of these, just your grade 3 searcher. When placed, you top 5 for grade 3. This will help you get the grade 3s you want to ride optimally for the first ride, which I'll show one of them fairly soon. And then if you or your opponent control a face down card, whether it be from the bind zone or on the field, she's a 13k booster. So that's always nice. I run about 3 copies of this guy right here, Dunamis Messiah. Now, it is a extender of sorts, which of course is basically GB1. So at the end of the battle it boosted, you may pay the cost, which is a Soul Blast 1, and then if you do, you choose up to 1 lock card, unlock it, and then lock this unit. And then you choose one of your units and it gets plus 4k. Now, you can choose to split the effects, such as unlocking a card and then giving something else 4k. But normally, when you unlock something with Dunamis Messiah, you want to give the unlocked unit plus 4k so it can swing again for certain numbers, or numbers that can reach the Vanguard, or a rear guard that seems to be troubling you. Either way, I use this in a combo with Bolt, the grade 4, so it's pretty funny. We got that. And then I run 4 copies of Sacrifice Messiah right here. Now this card is pretty nice and important both defensively and resource management. So basically, in GB1, whenever something becomes locked, you can choose to lock this unit. And then if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Messiah, its card name, and then if you do, you countercharge 1, and then you choose up to 1 of your other units, and it gets plus 3k until end of turn. So this works well with certain G guards, like Demon Maxwell, or in this case, Lacus Karina, if you just want to lock your whole board by locking 3 of your rear guards. And then if you have 2 of these in play, you can lock them themselves, countercharge 2, and get plus 3k from each of them. So it's pretty nice. It pairs well with certain G Guardians, I reckon. And it also becomes a booster that you can unlock later too, to enable more powerful chain attacks as well. Okay, so I also run a tech in here too. It's gonna be the one of the Van Manen. Now, the reason why I don't run for Dunamis Messiah as it's recommended is because I don't have 4. So I decided to throw this in here and see what happens, and he actually has carried me through a couple of games. But him and a couple other cards can be swapped out for the new grade 1 that's coming out in the Clan Collection. So it's gonna be great. Alright, on to the grade 2s. We're gonna start off with Lady Fencer. Well now, pardon that, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start with 4 copies of Lady Fencer of Matter Transmission. Now, she is basically the mini bulk of your deck. So, how she works is when she attacks, if you have a Vanguard Messiah in its card name, which you will at that point, she gets plus 5 until the end of that battle, and at the end of the battle she locks herself, so that way you can unlock her later and enable yet again more chain attacks with specific cards. Now, I normally ride this if I have no choice, or I ride Gaster, which I'll be showing you in a second. Other than that though, 15k each swing and she locks herself is pretty nice. I'm gonna SP her eventually. SP looks really nice. Okay, so next, we have 4 copies, Counterattack Strike Gaster. Now, when you're able to, he's going to be the grade 2 you want to go into. because at the end of the battle that he attacked a Vanguard, whether he's on Vanguard or Rearguard circle, you counterblast one and put a card from your hand on Rearguard as a locked card and draw a card, which is nice because when you have one of these in your hand, you're going to want the 30k beat stick in play. That's going to be like early game pressure, especially with that grade 1 that's coming out. I can't wait for that one. In this deck, I run about 9 grade 2s, and this is the last one of them, Remarkable Burst Monk. Now, I've seen some lists run the GB1, or not the GB1, the 9k grade 2 unit that when placed you lock a card from your hand, you draw, which is nice, but I don't know, this feels a lot more comfortable for me because when you get this off, after locking it or placing it as a locked card during the battle phase and you unlock it by your Vanguard's effect, the chance of having your Vanguard restand is just so good in this format. It applies so much pressure. Alright, on to the 4s and the 3s, and then we will do the trigger lineup. So, to start with, we go ahead and play 4 copies of Alter Ego Neo Messiah. Now I just have the 2-2 split with the hot stamps and the normal triple rare grade 3s. Now basically what he does is whenever you stride into a Messiah, a G unit with Messiah's card name, you choose up to 1 card from your hand and place it on the board. And then you may choose up to 1 of each fighter's rear guards and lock them. Now this is good when you want to set up plays, like with him for example, because you can lock him before his auto ability goes off because you have to finish resolving his effect, and then by the time this effect resolves, he's no longer technically on the board because he's a locked card. So I found that out recently, and it's just so good. This is going to be the first grade 3 you're going to want to go into. I guarantee, bar none. And then his second skill is GB2, which you'll get to anyway. So you Soul Blast 1, and you apply that ability is at the end of your turn. If a locked card was unlocked during that turn by the effect of your card, you Soul Blast 1 and then you Pot Agree, draw 2. So it's really nice to go into as your first grade 3. Now, as for your second, which will be fairly later, 4 copies of V-Series Alter Ego Messiah. Now, I like him just because he gives my Bolt column extra crit, but beside that, if you feel like you don't want to stride and think you can close the game with the pieces you have in your drop zone, then he's good. So the first ability is an act ability. You Soul Blast 1 and put up to a total of 2 cards with different card names from your drop zone on your rearguard's lock card. So you can't do 2 Volk. I wish I could, but you know, it is how it is. But anyways, even so, you could grab a Lady Fencer and a Volca Gold and just lock them. And then you just swing and unlock them. But anyways, speaking of swinging and unlocking things, when he attacks while he's on a Vanguard circle, you can choose any number of any player's locked cards, unlock them, and all those unlocked units get plus 10k till end of turn. Now this is important because when you're trying to close the game without striding, that plus 10k is going to really matter. Especially when you have an optimal board like with Dunamis Messiah, Sacrifice, Volk, and Lady Fencer. It's just going to be really devastating. Like, I like this card. It's a really good finisher. And then 4 copies of The Boy, Genesis Machine Deity, Volcagode. Now, this card is silly considering it's a grade 4 with 30k power, but that's just not it. Like, this card is kind of conditional on how you play it. But first off, you can't ride it, obviously, but why would you? Because you have 2 grade 3s, which are way better options. And when it's placed, you retire this unit. Now, basically it's just saying you can't get away with Imprenium. You just go into your grade 4 G unit and then you place this. That's not going to work. So Bushiroad decided to install a little, failsafe, except then there's this guy, which basically says you can put him on the board anyway through the stride skill. But anyways, so aside from his first 2, his third skill is important. At the end of the battle, attack a Vanguard, you lock it, and then one of your units gets plus 10k till end of turn. Now, obviously, with it being a 30k beat stick, of course you're going to swing at the Vanguard, especially if it's on a force 2 marker circle. And then giving it plus 10k to, like, say your Vanguard or one of your other underpowered front row units is just great. And then the fact that you just unlock him later through certain combos or through your Vanguard's ability, it's so good. It just allows you to extend your most brutal attacks and plays. All right, last but not least, the trigger lineup. So we have 4 copies of Lady Healer of the Torn World. Now, I could play stream, but honestly, I'm not doing like Chaos Break or anything, so I don't really need it. I have the soul I need, I have the counter charge I need, so we're just playing regular Lady Healer. I like this steel trigger. And then, we're obviously playing draws, so we got 4 copies of Flowers and Vacuum Cosmo Wraith. It's just, you know, the standard draw PG. Always good. We definitely have 4 copies of Super Atoms for when you can't pay the stride cost, but hey, you know, here's a crit that allows you to fulfill that condition. And then we're running 3 Vandal Sharp, just for soul and for pushing game. Now, I like him, he's nice. I mean, not many people would probably play him at 4, so 3's fine, because you gotta make room for the Overtrigger. Yeah, this is kind of busted in this deck too, especially if you're unlocking your stuff during the battle phase. But I digress. Everybody knows this is stupid good. I mean, there's Drag Vita, the Dragon Empire Overtrigger, which I like, but I like Elder Breath too. Alright, so, pardon the change in pitch of my voice. Let's move on to the G-Zone. So we're going to do the 1-ups first. So, we're going to start off with Harmonix Neo Messiah. Now, this is kind of niche in most games. I just play this for a Dimension Police matchup. Because if I can make it to 5 unlocked units, my opponent can't guard their grade 3s. It's like, oh, you have Dialiner and you also have Geoma Glass unflipped? Well, guess what? You can't guard your grade 3s anyway, son. It's really nice. It's also an unflipped target for cards like the other one I'll be showing you shortly, and of course, Integral Messiah. Let's see. And then the other one up is Burial End Dragon. He shows up rarely often, but he's just one of those cards that can come in handy as a really nice glass cannon. So basically, you just unflip a card in your G-Zone, and then you just wipe markers, and he gets plus 10k in a crit. He's very glass canny, but he also helps accelerate towards Integral's first skill, which I will mention in a bit. And now for the more of the 1-ofs, we got 2 of, hey, guess what, resist can't dodge this, Spaghetti Messiah, as my locals affectionately call it. But it's Genesis Dragon Transalps Messiah. So basically, it's when placed on GB2, you CB1 and you choose a face down card in the same copy, turn it face up, and you basically like lock the player's field, or both fighters' fields anyway. But any locked cards prior to this are unlocked as well, which is also great for extending your plays, and also synergizes with the Alter Ego Neo Messiah too, when it comes to the stride skill. Now then, we got 4 copies of Genesis Dragon Basilisk Messiah. Now, this card is actually a decent first stride, because it sets up for GB2, and it also allows you to oppress your opponent's front row even further, or just stall them until you're able to get to a position where you can close the game with Integral, because Integral is basically the finisher in this deck. Also, it gives you a +1 too if you unlock a card with it. And then here is the bread and butter of the win cons in this deck, outside of the Alter Ego Messiah play. Integral is going to be the card that mostly closes the games, because when you get 3 face-up Messiah in your G-Zone, its first effect procs. So when it's placed on Vanguard Circle, you and your opponent have to shuffle your hands into your decks, and then you both draw 5 cards. Now, you're going to have the perfect setup to chain attack your opponent to death, and they're going to have 5 cards to guard with. So it's going to be the big suck for them. And its second skill is when it swings, you basically counterblast 1, choose any card in your G-Zone, turn it face up. and then you unlock all your cards. And then if you unlock 3 or more, you soul charge, you draw a card, and you get plus 10 for this guy. So he's going to be swinging for big numbers. Basically, sometimes, well, when I'm playing him, I sometimes use him as the first drive if I need resources. But most of the time, I'm just going to go into Basalt as the side. And you probably will too.
I don't know.
All right, and now for the G Guardians. So we run. Oops, there goes that one. Darkness that lights up Demise Marcus Karina. Now she is a GB1 requirement for the ability. So what she does is when she's placed on Guardian Circle, you CB1, choose a face down G guard, turn it face up, and then you lock up to 3 of your own rear guards, which of course fits into your game plan both offensively and defensively. And then your opponent chooses 3 of their rear guards in the back row and lock them for each card that was locked. So basically, you're going to be locking 3 of your cards anyway, and you're just going to be locking their back row, or as many cards as possible in their back row, which is really nice, because then you can make defensive plays with the next G Guardian I'm about to show you. I run 1 copy of Destiny Guardian. Now, I could run 2, but I choose to run 1 because I can just combo it with Lacus Karina if I need to, or if I happen to have any locked cards somehow, or if my opponent has locked cards in their back row, because we don't want to be unlocking their front row, I can unlock those instead, and then I can give plus 10k to this big beast of a bird, basically turning it into a 25k shield, which is very nice, and also fits into the deck's whole shtick or mechanic. 1 copy of Demon Maxwell, because he sets up defensive plays, especially if you have Sacrifice Messiah on the board. Now, basically, you just place him on the board, and then you lock 1 of your rear guards, and he gets plus 5k until the end of that battle. And then if you have any Sacrifice Messiah on the board, you just lock those 2 as part of their own ability, and then you can countercharge for each of them. And then your Vanguard gets plus 3k off of each of those Sacrifice Messiah until the end of the turn. So that's an additional 6k boost that makes it easier for you to guard. And then we have the 1 Dismal, because Dismal. I mean, I don't have to explain it to you, do I, ladies and gentlemen? Or is it a her? I can't tell. Vanguard's weird nowadays. But anyways, that is my deck profile, and I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for your time, and you all have a good night.